After the affluenza case involving a 16-year-old who killed 4 people in a drunk driving case, people were understandably outraged. But if that didn't outrage you enough, we have yet another story where the top 1% gets to enjoy a different system of justice. Now, an heir to the DuPont fortune, a man by the name of Robert Richards IV, has been convicted of raping his own daughter. In fact, he even confessed to abusing his own son. However, the judge has handed him a sentence, and the sentence includes probation, but absolutely no jail time. Now, the judge, Judge Jan Jordan, actually sentenced him back in 2009, but the story is getting attention now because his ex-wife is suing him. Now, in her sentence, the judge said he would benefit from participating in a sex offenders rehabilitation program rather than serving prison time. Now, if you want to know more details about what happened in this case, according to the lawsuit filed by Richard's ex-wife, he admitted to assaulting his infant son in addition to his daughter between 2005 and 2007. Richards was initially indicted on 2 counts of second-degree child rape, felonies that translate to 10-year mandatory jail sentences per count. Now, what happened in this case is he agreed to a plea deal. So he pleaded guilty to raping his own daughter, but instead of getting a second-degree conviction, he got a 4th-degree conviction, which does not have a mandatory minimum. As a result, that paved the way for the judge to let him off with probation as opposed to a prison sentence.
I'm glad that for the first time in American history, we care about the well-being of the people who might go to our prisons. I mean, she's concerned about what would serve him better. How about what would serve his kids who were molested by him better, that he raped? What would serve them better? What would serve the community better? What would serve the next set of kids he might rape better? Is that to throw his ass in jail. All of a sudden, like all those cases, we covered stories of people getting life sentences for smoking pot. But those people are not better served by rehabilitation. They're better served with a life sentence. But a guy rapes and molests his daughter and his son, 3 years old infant, and we're concerned about how he is better served. Well, okay.
It's disgusting. The notion that a child rapist doesn't deserve any prison time and should be out there in society with just probation is ridiculous. You take him out of society and you put him in prison because he's a threat to society. People who do drugs, they're not a threat to society. They might be a threat to themselves, but they're not going to go around harming other people. But we throw them in prison all the time, especially if they're poor. But if a wealthy person literally penetrates his own daughter with his fingers while masturbating, well, that's not a threat to society. He's wealthy. Let's let him get off with probation. And, you know, we want to rehabilitate him. How about we reform our entire freaking prison system so we rehabilitate everyone who's in the prison system?
Let's remember the judge said in this case that, quote, he will not fare well in prison. He will not fare well. Well, most people don't fare well in prison. It's called prison. And we don't put people there so that they can fare well. Now, look, would we be in general a little bit more open to more rehabilitation on a macro scale for our prison system? Yes, we would. This is not the case to start with, okay? And that's not why. Everybody knows why. 4th generation DuPont heir. His great-grandpapa was the guy who earned all the DuPont money. And by the way, you know, a lot of people, you know, want to be rich. It's the American dream, etc. And I get it, and I want money. Money does help with a lot of things. I'm very realistic about that, right? But if you get enormously wealthy, I fear for your heirs so much. Almost all these kids wind up so badly screwed up. The grandchildren, the great-grandchildren, compared to, you know, like, I mean, just story after story we've covered here. But the main point here is, for Christ's sake, man, they just live by different rules. And it's not even, I don't think the judge in this case or in the original affluenza case where the kid was let off on probation after 4 people died in his massive drunk driving accident, I don't think they think, well, rich people are better, so I'll make sure they don't go to jail. They just empathize with them. They see a poor person, a black person, a minority, all those different categories. It could be a poor white person. They think, I I went to law school. I'm a judge. I don't empathize with that guy at all. I don't know that guy. That guy must be a bad guy. I'm afraid of that guy, right? But when these people come in, they go, well, I know guys like that, right? And I'm not saying they're bad guys. They think like, well, I know a lot of rich people. That's the context I grew up in. That's the subculture I'm in. And it's so funny that politicians run these campaigns about how 47% of the country lives off of the rest of us, and they live off of the rich who earned it on their own. And no. Look, some rich absolutely earned it. Bill Gates, Oprah, you can go down the list. And some are people like this who didn't earn anything. They just got millions upon millions of dollars handed to them, and then they do this. And we understand all that. We've already gotten accustomed to it. But when they do hideous things, and they get to have a totally different justice system, we can't live with this injustice, man. We're at a boiling point here. This is beyond all comprehension.
One final point and fact that I want to bring to your attention. After he was charged, he was released on bail. And you want to know what his bail was? $60,000. What do you think the bail would be for anyone else? Do you think it'd be $60,000 for raping his own children?
He's a millionaire heir. $60,000 to him is like this. If he wasn't going to get the probation, you think he would have stayed in the country? Do you know how easy it would have been for him to take his millions and $60,000, ooh, and move to another country? He was never going to face justice no matter what. How repulsive is that? How much more of this are we going to take? Look, the answer isn't to get angry and spill into the streets and do physical things, right? Look, if you're protesting in the streets, great. And some are now because of the injustice that happened in Albuquerque, where the cops shot a poor homeless man, etc. Of course, politically, I love that. But the answer is to fix the system, man. If you don't fix the system, this is going to continue for the rest of the time, and we're all going to bow our heads and say they can do anything they want to us. And, I'll see you in a privatized prison where we have all been sent while these guys get to walk the streets.